Morning, teachers.
Morning
Morning.
po.
Morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
For a while, you may turn on your videos for now. Okay, again, good morning, teachers. Okay, let's have our system check first. May I ask you to give me the like reaction? If you can see the screen I'm sharing, do you see the two hands in the camera? Okay, that's great. How about the others? Okay. How about my audio? Is my audio clear? You give me heart react if my audio is clear. Thank you. Okay, I hope we'll have a smooth flow at least, right? As much as possible. How about you? How are you doing? Can you give me one word feeling in the chat right now as fast as you can type? Are you feeling what, tired? Mentally exhausted? Weary? Happy? Sleepy? Okay. I think it's still late for you to be sleepy, but maybe you didn't have enough sleep, right? Last night, hungry. Yeah, I suppose you, what? It's already like before lunch. Right, I hope you had your breakfast earlier, or at least brunch. Happy, cute. Okay, someone's feeling cute today. I hope we can see her as well. Feeling hungry, hungry, hungry. Okay, but our class, right, starts from 10:30 to 1:30. So I hope you had your meal with you. Just like what I said, you may eat. It's okay, you may eat. And of course, I will not demand, right, that you turn on your videos the whole time. So maybe just for now, okay? Let's start with a prayer. Anyone who'd like to lead a prayer? Ma'am Hannah, please lead us in prayer. Amen. Amen. Thank you, Ma'am Hannah, for prayer. Yeah, we pray that your stomachs will be filled later, right, with your food. I hope. What's that? The usual comment in the social media. Sana masarap ang ulam nyo today, right? So I hope. Okay. Let's have our class picture as well. Please turn on your videos again. Okay, so I can take picture and then later on you may turn it off. Okay, I will count in 3 seconds. One, one, two, three. Smile. Okay, that will do. Thank you. You may turn it off if your internet connection can sustain it. Of course, that's understandable. Yeah, but if you can stay with me, I think that's better. Okay, let's start. I hope, right, that you're able to read my note there in the invitation link. You will share or echo your output today. But it's fine if you can read them. I can also echo your classmates' output to you. Okay, let's start. Okay, the first question in the assessment was, what examples can you identify of ways in which minority language communities have been disadvantaged socially and politically through language and education policy? Can you give me a number, Ma'am Hannah? Just raise a finger from 1 to 5. So I can call. Just raise two. Okay. One, two. Oh, Bernabe? M? Okay, are you there? I'll try to. Are you there?
Ma'am,
Hello, Emma.
ma'am,
Yes.
good morning po.
Morning. Do you have a copy?
Wala po, ma'am.
It's okay.
Sorry po.
Do you remember at least your response here?
Nakalimutan ko naman.
It's
Sorry po.
Thank you, thank you. Allow me to echo your classmates' output. Examples is in social gaming videos, such as Mobile Legends, Dota, League of Legends, and many more, which Tagalog speakers okay, what tease them because of their Bisaya accent. Okay, so maybe you're a gamer, that's why you experience this. That's one example. Okay, how about one more from you? Another number two. One, two. Ma'am Hannah, you're the second. Okay, Ma'am Hannah. Yes.
Yung answer ko po is,
Hmm.
yung mga,
It's you may.
yung mga, sorry po Ma'am Chappy.
I sorry. You may read your work. So
Sige
yeah.
po.
If you have a copy.
In this world of 21st century where technological advancement and the business world are being given importance,
Mm-hmm.
language plays a vital role to this situation. While English is the global language, minorities are gradually left behind and dying. People who use minority languages are considered to experience some difficulties and disadvantages
Mm-hmm.
socially and politically. To cite an example, people from the provinces tend to work in Manila because for them, they think that there are a lot of opportunities here. The idea of having a high compensation makes them decide to work and live in the city.
Mm-hmm.
But when they arrived, they were problematic because, as we all know, fluency in the local and English language is a must in applying for jobs. It is more advantageous when the applicant has a good linguistic skill for the reason that most employers require this kind of skill. If a person uses his or her native language, he or she will have difficulty finding a job. If they cannot find a job, they will become homeless and that will result in leaving them in the street and starting poverty. Moreover, a student that chose to study here in Manila for
Mm-hmm.
a certain reason will also experience struggles in the language he or she needs to use. If a child has a strong foundation of the native language, the child needs a drastic adjustment in order for her to survive.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes in the class setting, it causes the child to be bullied
Mm-hmm.
because of her first language. The student may not be able to comprehend the teacher fully, which significantly reduces the student's ability to absorb the lesson. That will result in the poor performance of a child and tend to quit school.
Mm-hmm.
People are in this situation experience discrimination and other language barriers. They are not able to express their feelings and they will feel isolated from the rest of the citizens.
Okay, wow, there are many ways that you've given from the business world to the, classroom setting. Yeah, so you can say that really, right, these minority people who use their native languages are disadvantaged socially and politically. Thank you, Ma'am Hannah. For the next question, you were asked, do you believe that English contributes to social and economic inequalities in the Philippines? Why? Okay, so while you're looking for your answers, allow me to echo your classmates' work. Again, yes, in today's society, when you know how to speak and write English fluently and accurately, people think that they're intelligent. Or you are intelligent and can go to other places around the world using their knowledge in communicating using the medium of English or second language. If you post a status or you write in English with a grammatical error, people will judge you as an intelligent person. That's an inequality in this society. And I hope, right, you debunk that idea. That is so not true, of course. That's the reason we have our own major, we have our own field of specialization. It's because, right, you cannot be master of all. They say, right, you are usually or most the jack of all trades, master of none. But again, that's the reason you are studying a certain field, right? So that's not true. Okay, most of the time, language is not, again, right, a basis for intelligence. How about you? May I call Erica? Ma'am, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Do you remember your answer here?
Basahin ko na lang po.
Okay.
Yung sagot ko po is yes. We all know that English language gives us a lot of opportunities, especially if we go abroad or apply to work as professionals. However, it has its own disadvantages too. English is starting to become dominant in other workplaces and documents in the country, sometimes surpassing Filipino as the main language. It affects the country's inequalities as it contributes to the widening gap between the privileged and the unprivileged. Those who are fluent in English language are often favored in workplaces compared to those who are not. Sometimes it can also be a channel of discrimination between those people who are fluent in English and who are not. They hesitate to communicate with others because they cannot express themselves clearly.
Mhm.
They are scared that others would laugh or humiliate them. Another example is most educational resources, such as books, journals, and articles, are written in English.
Mhm.
Some of these are often not accessible to the Filipinos, the indigenous people in particular.
Mhm.
Their access to education is limited, which makes them illiterate when it comes to English. Thus, English is a big factor in social and economic inequalities in the Philippines.
Wow, okay, that is so clear. Thank you for recognizing, right, the privileged and underprivileged Filipinos, differentiating them in their, depending on their situation. Okay, thank you for that, ma'am. Allow me to echo again one of your classmates' work. Yes, I think that sometimes English does undermine the culture of the Philippines. Sorry, that's the second. Okay, I do believe that English somehow contributes to the social and economic inequalities in the Philippines. Filipinos have that attitude that if you are fluent in English, just like what you said, it means that you are part of the elite. It creates a huge social gap between those who cannot speak and those who can. Dominant speakers may see themselves in a higher standing just because they can speak English. At the same time, those non dominant speakers they regard English speakers as pretentious, or as what Filipinos say, maarte. Okay, it can lead to miscommunication, and in some circumstances, it can create feud, right, between the two social classes. In terms of economic equalities, those who know English can have a better business venture than those who aren't, simply because they can attain a wider market target and can expand globally. Yeah, it's evident, right, in the business world. It puts local businessmen in tighter spots in competing against multinational companies. Okay, thank you for your answers. Another, does English undermine the culture of the Philippines? Your classmate says, I quote, yes, I think that sometimes English does undermine the culture of the Philippines. It is because of language and culture are interconnected with each other and vice versa. The language itself is considered a culture. Yes, you're right. Okay, with that said, we use the English language so much that our mindset became westernized. Some of us even value Western culture more than our own. Thus, we became an English dominant speaker. Okay, totally agree with this, especially comes to the products, right? The movie preference, for instance. How about yours? Okay, what's your response here, Ma'am Christine? Are you there? There. By the way, if you're part of the correspondence team, it's okay if you haven't accomplished these assessment questions. But I think it's better if you will do it at the same time and pace, so you will not be overwhelmed, right, by all those activities online.
Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, Ma'am Ruby, does English undermine the culture of the Philippines?
Yes, in my opinion, it does. In some certain language and culture is more prominent and enforced in our country. From the educational system to the packaging of products that is even made locally.
Yeah, just like what I said, right? So correct.
French as the main language and English as more like the subtitle continue to use and intellectualize their own language. It
Mhm.
is rather rare to see some products manufactured in Japan that has packaging written in English.
Mhm.
In the Philippines, it's the complete opposite.
Mhm.
English is everywhere.
Mhm.
I am not saying it's a bad thing, but in some way, in the Philippines, it's all written in English, which I don't think is necessary. I think it would be better to train the children to learn their native language first.
Excuse me, ma'am. There's a baby, I think, or a kid beside you. Okay, we can't understand you clearly. Just like what you said earlier, right? Correct. The products are there. So your answer is also yes, right? At some point, yes, it undermined the culture of the Philippines, including, our products, our language, the way we communicate, our action, even our attitudes. Thank you, Ma'am Ruby. Okay, how about the next one? You plan advocacy strategies in your context, advancing and supporting language education for speakers of non-dominant language communities. I assume, right, or I hope that you make it so specific that you can even apply this in the future when you teach. Allow me to read from your classmate. To help the non-dominant language community in a part of the education system, I think it's better to establish using their native language as a mode of learning and teaching. Of course, that is also mandatory, right? That is according to DAPED order. Okay? Teaching the basic concept of a subject, applying the context first approach before including the complex terminologies of the subject using English. So just like what we had last time, right? There is a mother tongue transition program that you need to undergo or you need to implement before you introduce the second language to your students, especially or you'll be teachers of early childhood. Okay, through this, the students can have a better understanding of the learning materials. We can build their confidence and encourage them that learning is fun and exciting without undermining their native language. So I can synthesize that your answer here, okay, just supports or you are an initiator, right, of other mother tongue based multilingual education program. Thank you. How about, okay, here. So for the other Filipinisms, I hope you gave other Filipinisms that aren't mentioned before. Okay, we have here, yeah. Okay, from your classmate, free subscription of. So better way to say it, free subscription to. Okay. So Filipinism, come again. Yeah, better way to say it. I'm sorry, I didn't get that. Excuse me. Okay, or pardon, right? Or would you say that again? Another Filipinism, it's for free. So better way to say it, it's free or it's free of charge. I think we had this last time, right? Hold your line, or for a while. So better way to say it, if I put you on hold for a second, please hold. Okay. Tack out, I think we had this time also. She delivered her baby yesterday. Better way to say it, she had her baby yesterday. Okay, I think you also search for these. That's understandable. Other Filipinism, as to the project, better way to say it, regarding the project. Thank you for that, or this one. Better way to say it, thank you for the information, or thank you. Okay, another, what are you studying? Better way to say it, where do you go to school? Or what school do you go to? Ah, yeah, because this question might, collect other levels of information. Next, we have one participant only. Better way to say it, we have one participant because one only, right? You sound redundant on that part. Okay, how about your additional that aren't mentioned here? Mhm. Nicholas, is this Nicholas? You may unmute.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have your additional Filipinisms that weren't mentioned?
No, ma'am.
Why, do you have the same?
Sorry, ma'am, I'm not listening. I'm doing something, ma'am.
Okay, sorry. It's okay. I understand. How about there's Ed? Is this Ed Marie? Yeah, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have additional Filipinisms there?
I have few, ma'am.
Okay.
Instead of everything, you should say, "Is there anything I can do for you?"
Okay.
And instead of pass by my office before you go, you should
That, yeah.
say, "Drop by my office before you go."
Mm-hmm. I think I gave that as example
That's it,
last
ma'am.
time. Okay. Thank you. Okay, I even asked you to list 10 more examples of Filipinisms or Philippine English and their counterpart, right? American or British and other varieties of the English. And also, you know, Filipinisms that are already part, right, of the OED or Oxford English Dictionary. In that activity, of course, you will have the same answers because you have one source which is OED. So we have their bahala na, right? It's our our way of expressing an attitude of optimistic acceptance or fatalistic resignation. However, it also denotes mediocrity, right? That we approach, right, this the way we approach life, okay, with this attitude. Another is balikbayan, so a Filipino visiting or returning to the Philippines after a period of living in another country. That's already there. Balikbayan box, also a carton ship, or it's a parcel, definitely, or brought to the Philippines from another country. Baon, okay, so because instead of saying allowance that only refers to money, baon, our word baon, refers to money, food, or other provisions taken to school or work or on a journey. If you like to travel, you need to bring your baon. There is barangay. So in the Philippines, it's a village, suburb, or other demarcated neighborhood. Barkada as well is there, a group of friends. So barong, short for barong Tagalog. Okay, Barong Tagalog is also there. Barot Saya is there. Batchmate. Okay, our because usually it's called colleague, right? So batchmate, a member of the same graduation class as another or classmate, also in extended use. Buko, right? It's the gelatinous flesh of an unripe coconut. Buko juice as well, a drink made from the clear watery liquid inside unripe coconuts. Buko water is there, or buko juice. Comfort room, again, we had this last time as well. And despedida, right? More fully despedida part. And many more words that are already part of the OEB. So you need to take pride, right, of our own language. Also, I ask you to assess yourselves by, right, by explaining the things that we discussed last time using your own words. So explain the stages of language planning principles, right, and give your own examples aside from the ones mentioned. May I call Ma'am Ed Shrine? Are you there? Yes. Do you have a copy of your answer here? Do you remember, or at least what? How do you explain, right, the concepts last time in your own words? But you don't remember them. Ah, it's okay. It's okay. Oh, let me read from one of your classmates. Okay, allow me to echo the output of your classmate. So, selection is the process of choosing a natural language to be developed and become a dominant language. So, example, you should be consistent in using your chosen form of language to avoid confusion. Okay, so for instance, choose only one. Wow, you learn a lot from last time. Yeah, choose only one if you're going to use Philippine English, American English, or British English. Next, codification refers to implying the uniformity and balance of the norms in the linguistic feature. Yeah, you're referring to the correct grammar, right pronunciation, vocabulary, terminologies, writing method, right, of the chosen languages, part like Baybayin, or for Korean language, Hangul writing system, or katakana in Japan. Implementation is an act of accepting and promoting the language. So, example of your classmate, it includes the mass production and marketing strategy of newspapers, magazines, modules, and other written materials. And last is elaboration, the process of developing and disseminating the coded materials to the public. So for example, the government takes a huge role in this, okay, in the parliament, courts, education, and commerce. I think they're the ones in the IM. I hope you give your own, right, examples. You don't just reiterate, because that will not be counted as, acceptable. Okay, so because it refers to how you understood the topics. Okay, so teachers. Okay, next, what can you say about the House Bill number 6125? Would you agree to suspend the implementation of mother tongue based multilingual learning? Why not? Ma'am Shane, are you there while you're getting it? Okay.
Before a child enters in grade 4, the use of mother tongue as a medium of instruction helps them to learn better for having a strong foundation. There are so many studies that can support this, such as the study of Walter and Decker in 2011 entitled Mother Tongue Instruction in Lubuagan, a case study from the Philippines. Studies and other countries prove that the using of mother tongue as the first language in school will help the students to have higher academic achievements compared to others. Lack of books written in that specific language and lack of expertise that will deal with working with the learning materials are two of the problems. Hence, suspending MTB MLE is not the solution. To emphasize, if the government together with the Department of Education will work together, MTB MLE will be successful. All in all, the mother tongue plays a big part in the students' learning and should not be suspended.
Okay, wow. So that is a verdict there, right? That's your stance. Thank you, ma'am. So you said it should not be suspended. Looking at, all the setbacks, right, that we're still adapting, right, to this, MTBMLE program. But even though it's passed for years now, right, it's still a challenge for majority of the education institution like private public school, right, to adapt this kind of program. Why? Because yeah, majority, especially not in the rural place but mostly in the urban place, right, urban places in the Philippines, students are into the second language. Thank you, ma'am. Okay, now let's play a game. Can you give me a wow react? Okay, and prepare also your chat comment there. Okay, are you familiar with the game Guess the Gibberish? Maybe you play this on Instagram. Can you give me like react? Okay, that's one. You're okay. As fast as you can, I would like you to guess, of course, the gibberish word or words there, and type in the chat. Okay, as fast as possible. Okay, your answer. Are you ready? Okay, let's start. I miss you. What is that? I think it's easy. Okay, correct. We got a winner. Sir Gerald, I miss you. Oh, why is there two? Okay, I miss you is the right answer. Okay, all of you got it correctly. Make sure to apply the correct spelling. Okay, we are not just texting here. Another guess the gibberish item. How about this? L huck HR. Okay, there's one. So fast. Ma'am Dayon. Okay, a lucky charm. Correct. Wow, you're fast. Okay, next. Wonder her wombed hand. Wonder her wombed hand. Correct. Wonder Woman from Ma'am Hannah. Okay, you got it first. Next. Yeah, Wonder Woman. Okay, correct. We loaf or chin. Okay, correct. Ma'am Shane. Wheel of Fortune. Wow, that's easy for you, huh? You're great at this. Next. Loss. Then translation. Or shin. Correct. Okay, there's one, the first one. Ma'am Eliza, lost in translation. Great, great. Okay, next. Thesis, a son who tomb he. Okay, the clue is, it's a, what is that? It is, okay, type properly so I can read your work. Okay, the clue is the voiceless TH here should be voice TH in the actual word. What is this? This is son who tomb he. Again, the clue is the voiceless TH here sounds voiced in the actual word. Again, this one, the clue is his son to be. Okay, another try. Aside from that, okay, another clue. Try. You may type share it if you like me to share it, but if you like to try more, you may continue thinking. This is son who soon be. Okay, I don't think that makes sense, right? The gibberish answer should make sense. This who he wanted to be. Okay, still no. You got the first one. This, yeah. Correct. Sir Gerald, this is all new to me. Very good. Okay, next. Tiff hears late he. Lady, correct, Ma'am Jasmine. You got it right. Next. She is burg her. She is burg her. Okay, cheeseburger, correct. The first one, Ma'am Ruby. Okay, next is Ma'am Edshrine. Next. Okay, I think this is easy. I don't want to read this. Okay, what's the answer? Correct. See you later, Ma'am Andy. Correct. See you later. Okay. So, wow, congratulations. Can you give yourselves, clap reaction, clap feedback? Okay, congratulations if you guessed those correctly. Now, let's continue. You will realize later the importance of that. Okay, so our objectives, our agenda would be you will demonstrate understanding and appreciation of language to human lives and society. You will explain the details of linguistic structure. You'll elaborate and explain the nature of language. Give concrete situations for each characteristic of language. Construct sentences indicating Tagalog news and POD. Later we'll talk about what does Tagalog news mean or what does Tagalog POD mean. Okay? In addition, you will differentiate the usage of nang, short nang, from nang na mahaba. Create examples for Tagalog noun gender, noun plurals, noun affixes, and verbs. Generate sentences for each function of a Tagalog sentence. Appreciate the importance of multilingualism and reflect on the implications of multilingualism. So let's start. Okay, let's talk about the nature of human language. Language is a system of arbitrary vocal symbols by means of which a social group cooperates. So language is said to be as well a method of human communication, right? So either spoken or written, right? It consists of the word sounds from to words in a structured and conventional way. So even if you like to use it in formal or informal manner, right? That is considered language. Just like here, it's said to be a system of words, right? Or signs that people use to express thoughts. So even your nonverbal gesture, that's language there. A system of communication or a medium for thought. You use language to express your feelings, your emotions, your clamor to the world, right? It's also a basic constitution of a person or thing. So you can identify if that is a person if he knows a language. So if you're familiar, I know you're familiar with, the robot check, right, on the computer, that you need to select, uh, you know various images that they look together. For example, right, select the pictures with, showing motorcycles, for instance, in all those 9 boxes. So that's one example. Okay. Yeah, recaptcha. Okay. Okay, you type that there. Okay, or the captcha, right? So next. Okay, language is also a combination of sounds. To further understand that, so you start by the phonology or the phonetics, right? The reason we have words right now because of the sounds that we create, and words have meanings. So it says here, meanings are in people, not in words. Can anyone elaborate that part, or do you agree that meanings are in people, not in words? Ma'am Jasmine, in your own understanding,
Hello, ma'am.
do you agree to this? Meanings are in people, not in words.
Yes, ma'am. Kasi 'pag minsan po, ah, mali yung way ng pagsasalita ng tao, parang namamali na rin yung meaning ng sinasabi po nila.
Yeah,
Yun.
correct. Yeah, that is so true, right? So, for instance, you're with your best friend, and then you'd like to go out, right? For example, for a date, or just like to go to the mall, and then you're wearing something that you need, right? His feedback, and then you're going to ask, do I look okay? Right? Is this outfit, does this outfit look good on me? And then your friend will say, I think, yeah, you're good with that emotion, right? So you can say that really, right? Meanings are the way, right? The sender of the message would like to convey the meaning to it, not only in words. Okay. So, and if you're going to browse, right, the dictionary, we have multiple meaning words. So one word can be of different function. It can be a noun, a verb, right, a preposition, right? Or adjective. That's why you have to be careful in using the words. Okay. Also, for this, I just use this, right, to show that language follows a grammatical structure. So if you can recall, I think I mentioned last time about, right, the way teachers see, right, this grammatical structure in a sentence, which is different from the way linguists see it. Okay, so we follow a certain format like subject verb agreement for in English, while in Filipino it's mostly, right. It mostly starts from predicate before the subject. Language is also based on oral, right, system. So we use our mouth, our ears to listen. Okay, that is part. And language can die and can be extinct. So I just use a dinosaur here, right? It can die and extinct, especially if there are no more speakers of the language. They die and they became extinct. So some reasons for the declination of language or the changing, right, of societal needs, because we don't need anymore, right, those words. But don't worry, in the dictionary you will still be given the origin, okay, of the word. Erosion of old customs as well, right? But it depends on, right, on the need, right? If you need to use a language, for example, they say that routinary word is already obsolete, but if you use it, right, and you mean the same thing, well, it still works, right? Also call for elegance. So there's a change of language, right? Because elite people would like to use this kind of word, and even other nations have their own slang words. Some, right, nationalities, they shorten the words. Even in our case, right? Sometimes we transpose, right, the syllables of the word. So instead of saying bente, it's etnib, right? So it depends, right, on the need of the society. So endangered language is a language that is at risk of falling out of use as its speakers die out or shift to speaking another language. And yeah, language loss occurs when the language is no more native speakers and becomes a dead language. So, for example, ancient Greek, slowly evolved into modern Greek, and Latin slowly evolved into modern Italian. So there's actually a language that is considered endangered. It's called Yuchi. Uh, yeah, it's the language of those people living in the southeastern United States, including eastern Tennessee. Okay, and however, speakers of that language were forcibly relocated to Oklahoma in the early 19th century. Okay, dead languages are still known and used in special contexts in written form. So a dead language may remain in use for scientific, legal, or ecclesiastical functions. Maybe you've attended Sunday services, and then the pastors, right, or the reverends will always refer to the Hebrew word of a certain word in a verse, right? So it's for a different, I think, for elaborated meaning, right, or for deeper meaning. They always look back to the Hebrew word, for instance. And Ethnologue records 7,358 languages known, but on 2015, right, May 20, Ethnologue reported only 7,102 known living languages. So it's about like 200, right, plus languages that are already dead. But still, right, imagine there are so many, still more than 7,000 languages. So let's talk about characteristics of language. Language can be diverse. It's so obvious, even in this virtual classroom, right? Our languages can be diverse. Not only the L1, the L2, but even the way we use them. That's really diverse. You are from different parts of the Philippines, and yeah, we differ from the language we use. Language also has levels. So these are the levels of language. Okay, it falls under linguistics. So we have your phonology, morphology, syntax, semantics, and pragmatics. So for phonetics, this is the level of sounds, as you can see here, right? So one must distinguish here between the set of possible human sounds, so which constitutes the area of phonetics proper. It is concerned, right, with classifying the sounds of your language and with saying how the subset used in a particular language is utilized. So even when you articulate the sound of p and b, and what else? For the f sound, and then th for the voiceless ch. So it's important, right, that you know how to articulate the sounds. Especially you are early childhood teachers, right? You are the foundation, right? They will rely on your pronunciation of the words. Do you agree with that? Can you give me a like or act? Right, you are the foundation, so we have to be careful. But you may give disclaimer as well, or discretion, that okay, you are being particular with this what variety of English or variety of native language. Okay, so morphology talks about the form, right, of words. So this is the level of words and endings. To put it in simplified forms, this is where the process of joining the free morpheme and bound morpheme together with the root word, or sorry for using the terms free and bound morpheme, but they refer to the affixes, right? We add, so we have root word, and you add prefix, suffix, infix at the center, and circumfix all over the word. So yeah, lexicology is also concerned with the study of the lexicon, right, from a formal point of view, and it's just closely linked to morphology. Syntax now talks about clauses and sentences. Right? So this is the level of the sentences. So from sounds, words, now to sentences. It is concerned with the meanings of words in combination with each other because it combines. So for instance, right, the freshman orientation, not freshman orientation, because you use freshman as a modifier to the word orientation. So it only acts as the singular form of that. So in particular, it also involves differences in meaning arrived at by changes in word order. So again, just like what I said earlier, right? For English, subject verb agreement, subject verb object. In Filipino, predicate. Later, I'll show you more examples of that, and of course, you'll agree with me that you don't say ako ay gutom, right? You will say gutom ako or gutom na ako, right? Next is semantics. So even if you have sentences, right, we also need to deal with the meanings of various kinds. So even if you say pagod na ako, right, but it doesn't show, for example, it is not rather supported with your nonverbal gesture, well, it has a different meaning for that. Or you may say you are for example, earlier, if you said that you're feeling weary or tired, it's not always about physically tiredness or exhaustion, but that can be mental, emotional. Right? Next is pragmatic. So our language used in different situations and in different circumstances as well. So again, language is creative and unique. To back it up, right, in this website, it enumerated the most unique languages in the world. So for instance, they have Limerick. Okay, it is spoken in the remote island paradise of Vanuatu, 1,000 miles from northern Australia. Okay. It is considered a nearly extinct oceanic language that was first discovered by a visiting linguist in 2003. Another unique language is Taoshiro. It's a language native to Peru. Taoshiro exists solely along the banks of the Aguaruna River. Another is Tanema, or Tanema. Today, it's the Solomon Island originating. This language is only spoken, imagine, by one person in the world. So it's really unique in that aspect. So those who did not speak the language have moved on to the languages of Tiano instead. Yeah, however, charts of Tanima persist in their newly adopted languages. They also have Chamikuro, one spoken commonly also in Peru, commonly used in Peru. They also have Liki, right? So religion can grant an individual many gifts, and for 5 Indonesians, one of those is their language, Liki. So next, even in our language, right? We are so creative with our language. In American English, it's just rice, right? In Filipino, we have palay. It depends on the process. So palay, kaning nakatanim pa o balot pa ng gintong balat. Ay, sorry. Okay, bigas, kaning hindi pa naluluto. Sinaing, bigas na niluluto pa lang. Kanin, bigas na luto na. Mumo, tira-tirang butil ng kanin sa pinggan o sa hapag. Pispis, ibang salita sa mumo. Who among you, can you give me how react if you are using pispis instead of mumo? May mumo. Okay. Wow, Gerald. Okay. You use pispis and Kiana. Okay. So, for the majority, it's mumo, right? May mumo ka pa. Okay, so next, bahaw, of course, right? Kaning natira o lumamig, but still, we eat bahaw, okay? Tutong, nasunog na kanin. Who loves tutong? Yung malambot na tutong. Anyone who eats tutong? Okay, there are two. Okay. Oh, thank you for that. Walang tapon, right? Walang masasayang. Okay. So, sinasalamin ng wika at salita ang kultura at karanasan ng tao. Another, right, way or your unique way of saying this, kahit isa lang kausap, kumain na po kayo, right? I mean, technically or structurally, kayo is for plural, right? But in our case, again, pragmatics, right, our language use, it shows respect. So, it says here, ang galang na binibigay sa isang nakatatanda ay hindi pang isang tao, kundi pang marami. Who among you use this when you speak to elders? Give me any reaction there, like heart, okay. Ma'am, Sophia, Nicholas, Gerald. Okay. Right? So, kumain na po kayo. So, it doesn't mean you're talking to many people, but you're talking to an elder. So, it's like paggalang times 99. May po na, may kayo pa. Okay. Next, we have banyuhay, bagong anyo ng buhay. So, we're this creative. Right? We join, for example, pinagsanib na bagong anyo ng buhay or metamorphosis. Can you type in the chat as fast as you can? Right? Example of this, that we combine words into one word and they mean, for example, buko, right? It has something to do with buhay ko, right? What else? Umagatang, oh, is that umaga tanghali? Oh, can you, was that Ma'am Edmarie? Is that how you mean it? What is that? Mako? Magahan at tanghalian. Okay, thank you. What is mako? Mahal ko. That's why with age. Okay. You know about that. Okay, what else? Katuga, right? Kain tulog gala or kain tulog higa. What else? Altang. Okay, almusal tanghalian. And in my case, I just call it brunch. Okay, so almusal, tanghalian. Correct. What else? Mm-hmm. Make sure you use those words. Okay. What else do you know? No more in the chat? Okay, another, right? So, paano pa sasabihin sa Filipino ang miss na kita? Okay? Sometimes it's awkward to say, nangungulila ako sa'yo, right? Or the sender of this message will receive your response as if, ang makata mo naman. But hello, that's our language, right? So, bakit di subukan ang napupungaw ako sa'yo? Or pungaw, that's a word in Bicol. Bigkas as pu, ng sampu. So, napupungaw. Right? Ngaw, okay, from langaw. Okay? So, okay. Next, yeah. Other characteristic of language. Language is a means of communication. It identifies culture, and it is arbitrary. So, languages are said to be arbitrary because, again, there is no necessary or natural relationship between the words of a given language and the concepts that they represent. So, for instance, last meeting, we talked about the use of fillet, right? So in that case, since language is arbitrary, right, majority of the people just accepted fillet instead of fillet. So yeah, that proves that. Okay. Another. Okay, so we have two different views of the nature of language. We have the structural view of language and the communicative language or functional view of language. Later on, I will also show you some methodologies that you may use in the classroom to achieve this view. Okay, so first, for structural view of language, it's a system of structurally related elements for the transmission of meaning. So just like earlier, we talked about the levels of language that those levels are included. So from phonemes, from sounds, to phrase, clause, sentences, right, to adding or shifting and joining, transforming elements of a word, meanings of the word, right, structure of the sentences, the use of preposition, conjunction, and pronouns. By the way, these are what we call, later also I'll show you, functional or content words, but we call them, the modern term for them is word class. So instead of saying parts of speech, which we are used to, right, and that's more familiar to you, parts of speech, okay, we call it word class. Okay, so areas of research in this view of language include linguistic analysis, textual discourse, target of language learning. So for this view, we have these methods. The audiolingual teaching method. So for this method, the emphasis is on the acquisition of patterns in common everyday dialogue. So it's mostly for practical use, right? So drills are used to teach structural patterns. So for example, you'll say what the close open, right? At the same time, if the kid needs to pee, right? So, ma'am, may I go out? So, that's a drill, a practice that you need to, ma'am, pwede pong pumunta sa palikuran. Right? So, set phrases are memorized with a focus on intonation, especially if you're asking a question or you're reacting to something in a shocked manner. Okay, grammatical explanations are kept to a minimum. Vocabulary is taught in context. Again, it's important that you define a word to a student, especially to a kid. You know what? Even when you say describe this, and they don't know what do you mean by describe. Okay, so you have to use the simplest word possible, right, for you to meet halfway. So what do you mean by describe, or what should I do, right, when it comes to encircling those objects or pictures on the material? Next, audiovisual aids are used. You know that students are visual learners for majority and auditory learners. Focus is on pronunciation, so be careful when you pronounce a word. Make sure they're clear, right? Make sure that we don't, suffer from P and F problem or B and V problem because that might change the meaning. Correct responses are positively reinforced immediately. You have to correct right away, okay? Because that will stick to their minds, okay? So for the modern usage of audiolingual method, it is still used today, of course. It's, evident in all the classroom, public or private. though normally as part of an individual lesson rather than as the foundation of the course. So you have to, focus on teaching this alone, right? So it's more practical when you apply this in your own classroom. Yeah, another method is total physical response, or what we know as TPR. So it's ideal for kids because they are also bodily kinesthetic learners. And yeah, it was created by Dr. James J. Asher. It is based upon the way that children learn their mother tongue. When you say up, or in kids' church, okay, a teacher uses ABC. That means they have to sit, or XYZ, they need to stand. So it also requires concrete instructions, right? Or if you would like to say, give me the ball, or look at mommy. Okay, so you may use that. At some point, we minimize this for adult learners, but I think it's still applicable for until college. But for adult, really like the elders or the senior citizens, they will have a hard time to move, right? When you instruct them to jump, for instance, or to walk around, right? Another that supports this method, you may try vocabulary connected with action. So, for example, you smile, okay, or these are the examples here. Okay, for example, you smile. Okay, here, chop. Okay, or for example, you like them to portray that they have headache. Okay, how do they exemplify having headache? Okay, brushing the teeth, making the bed. So even those verb tenses are important. Right? What else? Eating the meal. Okay, closing your eyes, standing up like this, reading the book, opening the book, right? So make sure we use the proper words, right? The proper words, so you will not be surprised that they will do a different thing because of wrong instructions. Okay, so why should we use it in our classroom? Because it's a lot of fun, right? And your students will enjoy it, and it can be a real, starter in the class. Usually, we apply TPR for motivation, right? You start with the song. By the way, there's a YouTube video, right? Or there are YouTube videos of nursery rhymes in Filipino or in a certain mother tongue. It's a compilation of all the songs. You may use them. Okay, it also lifts the pace and the mood, right? So for example, your student is not ready for the lesson, right? You apply TPR, so at least they will be active. It is also memorable, right? It helps your students to remember phrases or words, especially if you will do it often. It's also good for kinesthetic, just like what I said, kinesthetic learners, because they can be active, they can really be, you know, yeah, active and energetic in your class. It can also be used in large rather or small classes. It doesn't really matter how many students you have as long as you are prepared to take the lead and you don't be shy. Who among you are still shy? You know, being funny in front, because that's part. You need to be a performer, especially your early childhood teachers. Anyone? Okay, there's a like react from Eliza. You're still shy. Okay, you have to overcome that. Ma'am Hernandez, Ma'am Sophia, Sir Gerald, you have to overcome that because okay, you really need to look funny. You really need to show that you are happy, energetic, because that's the mood that you demand from your kids. Okay, so practice even at home. You look at the mirror, right? You sing any song. Okay, so instead of if you like to sing paa tuhod, balikat ulo, right? Make sure that you are very energetic with your face, not always mad, okay? You don't like to have your wrinkles all over your face. So always smile, be energetic, right? It works well also with mixed ability classes, right? It doesn't require a lot of preparation, imagine, because you just use your bodies, you just give them correct, precise instructions. Let's avoid our verbal mannerism, huh? You say, pakuha doon, or you know how Filipinos give directions. You pout, right? You use your mouth. What else? Nandoon sa ano. Right? So what's ano? You have to be clear with your instructions, right? Pakikuha mo nga yung kwan. What's kwan? Right? So you have to be specific. So it doesn't require a lot of preparation. It's also very effective with teenagers and young learners, just like what I said. And it involves left and right brain learning processes. So, okay, so I think that will do, right? So you may also contextualize those strategies by singing Bahay Kubo. What else? You may type in the chat your possible games using native language or mother tongue. What else do you have? Okay, you may type in the chat. Okay, you may give your own examples, right? May tatlong bibe, so they can act like that. Why? Because majority of the students now are TikTokerists, right? So they love to do TikTok and they can easily, they can easily follow the steps. But how about, right, the use of their native language or mother tongue? So I hope you also give them chance to appreciate, right, the way we play before. Okay, so you may use that. Next is silent way. So this methodology of teaching language is based on ideas that teachers should be silent as possible during a class, but learners should be encouraged to speak as much as possible. So it talks about student interaction rather than teacher. Teacher is silent to allow student awareness of how English works. So there are three basic principles of the silent way. It needs to discover or create. So you may think of a context where they can apply that. By the way, these rods are called Cuisenaire rods. Okay, and you designate one color for each sound. So it also focuses on the pronunciation. Right? So learning is made easier by the use of these Cuisenaire rods and by problem solving, of course, using the target language. So example, the teacher shows the learners a small red Cuisenaire rod and a bigger blue one and says the blue one is bigger than the red one. So the learners repeat this and the teachers then substitutes the rods to produce other models. But this is also possible, right, as a method to teach, you know, other adult learners, especially if they consider English as a foreign language and not a second language. So areas of a target language in the classroom where Cuisenaire rods can be useful include word boundaries, contracted forms, prepositions, word order, and word stress. Okay, we don't use them the same, huh? It's the da for consonant sound and V for vowel sound. Okay, next. Okay, so these under communicative, we're done with the structural view of language. Now it's communicative language or functional view of language. So first we have the functional content words. I said this earlier, the word class, right? Or the word class. It's okay, Ma'am Sophia. Okay, the use of word class like the nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, preposition, conjunction, and the like. Okay, so we are so particular, right, with differentiating proper noun from common noun. Okay, another, the view that language is a vehicle for expression of functional meaning. That's why you allow the learners to talk and talk and talk because young learners have a lot of stories to tell. Sometimes they can even create their own stories that are fictional. They love that. So you have to be very patient when it comes to your listening skill. Okay, but you may limit. For example, you're in a huddle, right? You're in a group or a circle, big circle, and then someone will be very excited to share a story. How are you going to handle that kid? Anyone? For example, he has a lot of stories to tell, but of course, you need to give other students a chance. Sir Gerald, how can you manage that?
Ma'am, I think I can give parts per student.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that. Thank you. Okay, yeah, you may give parts, correct. For example, you have a springboard that you use, right? A certain story and not their own story. Yeah, that's correct. You may designate parts, right? But what if they would just like to tell their own stories? Okay. Yes, Sir Gerald?
I think teacher can use a timer.
Wow, okay. Yeah, that's also possible. However, okay, we need to really take control because even if there's timer, students are right very intuitive, right? They really would like to tell their stories. Even you say, okay, please stop. We need to give chance to other kids, and you have to, you know, inculcate the attitude of being sensitive, right, and giving chance to others, and then they will understand that. Thank you, Sir Gerald. Also, the semantic and communicative dimensions of language. Again, it describes the rules by which words can be combined into sentences, while semantics describes what they mean. Yeah, talking about the example earlier, because I've used to experience that every time I volunteer as a teacher in kids church. And yes, these kids really have a lot of stories to tell. So, and we are in a huddle, we are at least at most 5 or 6, and then I will tell one kid, let's give a chance to her. It's her time to share her story, and then he will understand that. Okay. So next, grammar of Philippine languages. Now we'll have basic word order that includes POD or point of departure and Tagalog news. So what do you mean by this? So Tagalog POD or point of departure is a starting point of a basic sentence. It is the object, the person or idea that the speaker thinks about before he begins a sentence, or it's your, what in other term, your subject, right? The one you're describing. It is also picked by the speaker from among the things that he assumes the listener knows. They have been previously mentioned or implied. They're insight or in the situation. This one is implicit. The second one is explicit, or are shared or common knowledge. So for example, mahabang email. The POD here is ang email, right? So you're describing that the email is long. Okay, puti ang dingding. Ang dingding is a POD. Okay, bilog ang mundo is the POD. Mamal ang balyena, Italiano si Da Vinci. Even though these sentences mean the same thing, their PODs are different. For example, pinsan ni Mary si John. John is Mary's cousin. Okay, pinsan ni John si Mary. Mary is John's cousin. So we have si John or si Mary. Okay? So, would you like to type? Please type in the chat your own example of POD, even with the descriptor or modifier. You may type your own example in Filipino. Okay. Usually, yeah, you use the ang marker or the C marker for that. Anyone? You may type in the chat. Tagalog POD. Again, it can be a complete sentence, and we will just identify the POD or point of departure of your statement. Again, be careful even if it's just simply typing. Make sure to type properly. Right? If it's a complete sentence, has a complete thought, you need to start with a capital letter and then ends with a period. Anyone? Oh, there are no answers yet in the chat. Okay, the POD here is ang email, ang dingding, ang mundo, ang balyena, si Da Vinci. Okay, gutom na ang bata. Correct. Ang bata is the POD. Thank you, Ma'am Jasmine. How about the others? So you are, right? Ang bata here is what you're talking about, and you describe the kid as hungry. Okay? So another, okay, mabagal ang takbo ni Ken. Okay? Ang takbo, okay? Tagalog news, now, it is what is said about POD. So what you're saying about the PODs, in this case, gutom na, this case, mabagal. Right? You're describing the speed, right, of Ken's running behavior. Next, new information communicated to the listener generally comes before the POD in basic Tagalog sentence, just like your examples. Gutom na ang bata. Right? You start with the news before the POD. Mabagal ang takbo ni Ken. You start with the news before the POD. Okay, so these are examples. So, guro. Okay, teacher, guro ang babae. So, ang babae is your POD, and then your news is guro. Can you type more examples in the chat? Anyone aside from the two? Teachers? You may combine now Tagalog news and Tagalog POD. So, in normal, casual, okay, masaya sa parke, okay, sa parke, your news is masaya, okay. What else? So, in this case, you describe of a place instead of a person or an object. Okay, malakas ang ulan. Okay, period. So, malakas is your news, ang ulan, POD. Makulay ang bahaghari. Makulay, news, ang bahaghari. Okay, your POD. News, mabilis. POD, mabilis tumakbo. Okay, POD, ang aso. Pusa, ang salarin. Okay? Okay, pusa. Okay, that's your, ang salarin. Okay, mainit ang kanin. Mainit, your news, ang kanin. Okay, your POD, makapal ang libro. Okay, correct? Makapal, your news, ang libro. POD. Sumabog ang bulkan. Okay, ang bulkan, POD, news, sumabog. Malutong ang chichirya. Okay, malawak ang bukirin. I like how contextualized your examples are and how, possible and feasible they can be used in an actual instructional material. Pumutok ang bulkan. Okay, pumutok ang bulkan. Okay, so, no more? Nakatayo ang poste. Okay. Because if there's what? I think, okay, maganda ang tanawin. Correct? Maganda, news, ang tanawin. POD. Okay, so keep them coming. So let's proceed to the markers. The Tagalog markers. We have ang marker, ng marker, and sa marker. So when masakit ang ulo. Correct? Ang ulo. Right? POD, masakit, news. So ang markers can be used for singular or plural. And usually this is a common mistake, right? In Filipino, right? Even in your sentences online, instead of using sina, people use sila, right? Inappropriately. So for personal names, you may use si. For all others, ang. For plural, you may call sina, right? Sina Gerald, Nicholas, Andrea, ang magkaklase. So for all others, you may use ang mga, or for a normal conversation, informal conversation, you may use yung mga. So we have here another example. Tumatakbo ang aso. Okay? Ang oras, ang aso. Ang oras, your POD. Tumatakbo, your news. Okay? So, more examples for ang markers. Ang babae. In your case, ang poste. Ang tanawin, ang ulong, oras, ang bulkan, ang bukirin, ang chichirya. Okay, ang libro, ang kanin, ang salarin. Okay, so we have here ang mga babae for plural, ang mga poste, ang mga chichirya, ang mga libro. Okay, so ang aso, ang mga aso. Okay, so uses of ang markers. First, marking the POD of a sentence. That's why it's easy for you to identify the POD because you use ang. Right, guro ang babae, kumain ang babae. Okay? Ang mga ibon. Okay? Ang mga ibon. Okay? So, another use, okay, is, if it refers to a particular person or thing. Ang teacher ang babae. In your case, ang mga ibon. Correct. Si Mary ang babae. Did you see there? Okay, would you like to type an example for si? Si Sarah. Okay, si Erica. Si Erica ang babae. What else? Okay, ang teacher ang babae. So, you may assume that it is being said with, of course, particular people in mind, right? So, for example, they're all, girls there, right? Or they're boys as well. And it has something to do with their profession and she's the only teacher there. So, you may say, ang teacher ang babae. Okay, sa kanilang lahat. Okay, next. Nang markers. So, for singular, we have ni, nang, nung. For all others, plural, ni, na. Nang mga o nung mga. Okay? About your example, you may type in the chat. By the way, note that NG is pronounced as nang, right? And mga is pronounced as mga, even though if you spell it out. Right? Personal names are names that refer to specific persons. So, these are nouns, right? May that be common or proper noun. We have names of animals, cartoon characters, or anything with a personality. So, nung is often used in conversation. Right? Nung makilala mo siya. Right? Nung nakita ka niya. Okay? Niyong and nyung are also sometimes used as alternatives to nang. So, in addition, right, mga mula sa mga, did you know this? Dati mga ang original na spelling ng mga, M-A-N-G-A. Kalaunan ginawa na itong mga para mas madaling isulat, lalo na't ginagamit. Okay, wow, yeah. Thank you for, you may use wow react if this is the only time you heard about this. Originally, it's M-A-N-G-A. Okay, great, great. Okay, sorry. Okay, other uses of ng marker. So, if it shows possession or belonging. Okay, so in that case, right, bag ng babae, bag ni Mary. Apartment ni na Alfred at Mary. Not nila ha, it's nina. So, if you are using it as modifier for the proper nouns. Right? Examples in the chat, please. For ng marker showing possession. Telepono ni June. What else? Papel ni Lara. Sorry. Yeah, correct. What else? Sapatos ng bata. Correct. Aklat ni Ronnie. Inumin ni Andrea. Jowa ng iba. Okay. So in that case, is jowa, make sure you define that to make sure the learners know about this. Okay. Relo ni Leroy. Okay. Chinelas ni Hannah. Don't use, okay, these are phrases only, so you don't use period yet. Okay, they're not considered sentences. You need to add other words here. So, okay. And chinelas is a common noun, so you may type it in lowercase. Bayong ng dalaga. Payong ni Nicholas. Okay. Papel ng bata. Sinturon ni Papa. Aray. Okay. Maybe there's a context there, right? Or sometimes that can, create conversation among the learners. Well, what's with the belt, right, of your dad? Okay. They're correct. Thank you for sharing. Another use is expressing various kinds of specifications. So it's easy, right, that you like to change it to of in English, to of. A grupo ng babae, bote ng beer. Picture ng aso, teacher ng English. Your example for this use of ng, anyone? In the chat. Again, if you are expressing various kinds. Baso ng tubig, correct? What else? So meaning this is what? Indefinite, right? For indefinite nouns. Okay, gatas ng ina. Correct. Okay. What else do you have there? Okay, bintana. Bintana ng bahay. Okay, yeah, correct. But, again, lowercase for these phrases. Pagkain ng bata. Puso ng saging. Okay, yeah, correct. Tahol ng aso. Boses ng bayan. Wow. This one has a connotative meaning. Right? Not literal. Okay, thank you, teachers. So, other use of nang, only for nang and ng mga. For example, kumain ng mangga ang babae. Kumain ng ice cream ang babae. So, you may use this if you are referring to, right, to one or many. Right, kumain ng mangga ang babae. Okay? So, another use marking the non-POD as doer of an action. Kinain ng babae ang ice cream. So, kinain ni Mary ang ice cream. Kinain ng isang babae ang ice cream. Can you type your own example for this? The non-POD, okay, is the doer of the action. So, who did the action? There's an action. There should be an action in your example. Can you type, please? So, in this case, it's kinain. That's the action. Anyone? You may type. So, in this case, this will be complete sentences. Well, for example, okay. Kinain ni Mimiya ang hotdog. Okay, this one, it's complete sentence now, ha? So, you type that in capital letter for the first word and then period. And of course, Mimiya is used, it should be proper noun, so capital. Inayos ni Kiana ang papel. Okay. Winasak ng bagyo ang bubong ng bahay. Wow, okay. Winasak ng bagyo. Okay. That's the doer of the action. Okay, bagyo. Sinipa ng bata ang lamesa. Okay. Yeah, that's also possible. I mean, that's even realistic. Nilaro ng aso ang bola. Okay, correct. Ininom ni Daniela ang milk tea. Correct. Ininom and doer of the action is Daniela. Ininom ng lalaki ang sorbetes. Okay. Nagsulat ng tula ang Makata. Okay, ang Makata is your POD here. Right? And your news is nagsulat. Pinalo ng nanay ang bata. I think your nanay there is also common noun, right? Tinangay ng bata ang pagkain. Tinagay ni Sofia ang alak. Okay. Kinagat ng pusa ang daga. Tumakbo ang lalaki. Right? Lalaki sa parke. Because it's babae, lalaki. Pinatay ng kinauukulan ang pag-asa. Pinatay. Okay? Kinauukulan. This is the doer of an action. Okay? Nang kinauukulan. Okay, correct. Pinakinggan ni Ed Shrine ang kanta. Ano kayang kanta ang kanyang pinakinggan? Kaya, napatagay ng alak si Sofia. Okay, thank you. Thank you for, tinapon ni Nicole ang basura. Okay. Kinurot ni Eliza ang tinapay. Okay, doer of the action, Eliza. Okay. Another use of ng marker, we have, okay, indicating direction. Pumunta ng school. O now, location ha, direction. Pumunta ng school, pumunta ng Pilipinas, umakyat ng bundok. Okay, you may type your examples in the chat. So, pumunta ng school ang babae, English translation. The woman went to school. Pumunta ng Pilipinas ang babae. The woman went to the Philippines. Okay. Umakyat ng bundok ang babae. The woman climbed a mountain. Anyone? Direction, indicating direction for ng markers. Nilipad. Okay. It needs to be, okay, sorry, it needs to be a direction or a place or location. Okay. Umalis ng Pilipinas ang dayuhan. Okay. Pumunta ng bahay, aliwan. Oh, si Frances. So, earlier, may inuman. Right? Ngayon, bahay, aliwan. Pumunta. You need to be careful, okay? Learners will ask, what is bahay, aliwan? So, be careful with your examples. Yeah, even the alak. Okay? Pumunta ng Thailand. Si Rain. Okay, pumunta ng Kubeta. Si Dayon. So, please use capital there. Capital letter. Pumunta ng Recto. Capital R. Ang bakla. Period. Okay, nagtungo ng simbahan ang babae. Period. Pumunta ng Antipolo si Daniela. Period. Pumunta ng Europa. Si Rizal. Okay. Wow, historically speaking. Umuwi ng Davao si Harry. Umalis ng bahay si Georgette. Pumunta sa parke si Gia. Kumanan sa kanto ang sasakyan. Okay. Given the realistic examples you're giving, okay, please be able to explain those to your learners. Okay. Make sure to contextualize as much as possible, without biases, right? Okay. So, next, Tagalog ang marker. Singular, we have kay or sa. For plural, kina o sa mga. For example, showing possession, this one for sa markers. Kay, Ralph ang bag. Sa bata ang bag. Any example? Pumunta sa Manila Bay si Harry. This one is for the previous, correct? This one is for sa. Okay? This one for showing possession or belongingness. So, you will use kay if you use proper noun and sa if it's common noun. Kay Eliza ang panyo. Correct? Okay. What else? Kay Camille ang telepono. Okay. Kay Francis ang kwaderno. Kay Shrine ang album. Sa matanda ang tungkod. Okay. Contextualize as well. Kay Erica ang baso. Okay. Kay Shane ang alcohol. Kay Ariana ang kanta. Okay. Correct. Kay Sofia ang libro. Kay Maria ang bahay. Kay Mary ang pitaka. Okay, thank you for your responses. Kay Shane ang pagkain. Okay. You may also, right, integrate values there, when you give examples. So next, common uses of Tagalog sa marker. Another is indicating location. Again, location for sa or direction. Kumain sa school ang babae. Pumunta sa school ang babae. The woman went to school. Okay, your example for sa, showing direction or location. Okay, you're giving other examples there for Kai Nicole ang damit. Kay Shane ang notes. Okay. Kay Nicholas ang router. Kumain. This one. For sa marker. Second use. Kumain sa sisigan ang lalaki. Okay. So you consider sisigan as a what? Eatery. Or naligo sa ilog ang bata. Sa ilog. Correct. Pumunta sa concert ang babae. Okay. Kumain sa golden baboy ang mga kaibigan ko. I only know romantic baboy. Is this also what's that? Samgyup? Okay. Nagpagamot. Okay. For in that case, for nagpagamot, you can combine those. Nagpagamot sa ospital ang bata. Bumaba sa bundok si Eliza. Bumaba sa bundok. Okay. You may use nang marker there, right? Bumaba ng bundok si Eliza. Sa likod ng paaralan ang palikuran. Sa likod. Pumunta sa perya, sa Teresa, sa stage, sa lagoon. Mabibili ang fewa. Okay, I know you miss PUP now. Pumunta sa palengke ang matandang babae. Sa palengke, tumakbo sa may kanto ang magnanakaw. Okay, so realistic, right? That's good, huh? Localized. Bumili sa Jollibee si Andy. Pumunta sa Watson si Shane. Okay, I know you can relate to that. Nagpakabit ng wifi sa bahay. Okay, that's common noun sa lowercase. Sa bahay si Addy. Okay, thank you. For example, how about this? Third use, marking the non-POD or direction of an action. It's the person or thing for which or whose direction the action is performed. It is direction that is part of the news instead of the POD. May be definite or indefinite. For example, sumulat kay Mary ang babae. So again, the non-POD direction of an action. So, you mark this. Nagtanong sa doktor ang babae. So, you have here as well. This one is a direct. Right? This is the indirect. What else? How about in your case, the sa? Direction of an action. Again, it may be indefinite or definite. A noun. Anyone? I think you're still giving for the previous one. Okay, correct. Nagtanong sa dean si Andrea. Correct. What else? I think this one is for the this one, correct. Lumipad kay Rosal ang ipis. Okay. Period. Correct. Nagtanong sa teacher ang bata. Correct. Period there. Sumulat kay Nicole ang lalaki. Very good. Inabot ang libro kay Daniela. Great teachers. Okay. Your correct examples. Okay. You even added, nagdasal sa may kapal si Nicholas. Tumawag kay Daniela ang lalaki. Correct for kay. Else, umiyak kay JJ si JC. Okay. Please capitalize the proper nouns. Nagpunta sa lagoon si Kiana. Okay. This one. How about for nouns? Not direction. That's for the previous, the direction. Nagbigay sa mahirap si Dayon. Okay, that's correct. Kumanta. This is for the location again. But direction of an action. Nagpa-tour kay Edmarie ang bata. Okay. This one. Okay. Inabot ang payong kay JC. Okay. So, next, difference between direction and object. For direction of an action, for example, write to me. Write to Mary. Write to me. Object, write a letter. So, in this case, you may combine write, Mary a letter. So, write me a list. Right? So, this is the direct recipient of the action. Right? And this is the object of an action. So, ask the doctor a question. Ask her his name. So, this one, the last part, it can be, right? For example, you're talking to your best friend and you like to know the name of your crush. So, you say, ask her his name. Okay? Another, nagtanong sa guro si Isobel. Okay? How about for this? Yeah, you use those as well in your previous examples, the direct and object. Okay? Next, so this is the summary. You may just simply browse this for ang, nang, and some markers. Let's now look at nang versus nang. Can you give me, wow, react if you're still confused when to use nang na maiksi, nang na mahaba. Okay, this is a common mistake, right? Especially online, we thought it's just nang na maiksi or nang na mahaba. So, nang is a conjunction. Take note. Nang, when you want to say when or so that, so you may interpret it in English in your mind, so it will be easier for you to remember which is which. Nagulat ako nang nakita. So, there's a verb here. So, you use mahabang nang. Nang nakita ko sila. I was shocked when I saw them. Kumain ka nang hindi ka magutom. So, you also have the verb here. Right? Nang sa ganun ay hindi ka magutom. So, the word nang also denotes an adverb or adverbial phrase that you may, this one, for adverbial phrase, that you may omit something that will not change the meaning of the message. Another, kumain ka ng marami. So, an adverb describes the verb. Kumain ka ng marami. So, like how much, right? Or to what? This one, kumain ka ng, kumain ka ng kaunti.
Alert from system UI server.
Okay, so to what extent, right? Or yeah, how much, again, would you like to consume? So, sila ay tumakbo. So, sila ay tumakbo ng mabilis. So, to what extent did they run? Right, so, if you'd like to add that adverb, that's nang na mahaba. Okay, another, bastang gamit ng mahabang nang. Kapag sinasagot ang tanong na paano, so you ask yourself, is this answering the question paano? Right, paano tumakbo si Ben? Tumakbo si Ben nang matulin. Tumakbo si Ben nang nakapikit. Tumakbo si Ben nang walang tsinelas. So, all these refer to Ben when he is running. Right? Nakapikit siya, matulin siya tumakbo, tumakbo siya nang walang tsinelas. Next, kapag umuulit ang kilos, so, takbo ng takbo, tawa ng tawa. Right? So, you may use that. Nang na mahaba, ha, pag inuulit. Okay, takbo ng takbo si Ben kahapon, kaya siya ubo ng ubo ngayon. Okay, iyak ng iyak ang bata. Okay, so you use nang na mahaba. Can you give me wow react if you've been using this incorrectly before, especially for the first two, like paano? Okay. Now you know, ha? Kapag sinasagot ang tanong na gaano or to what extent, okay, gaano kalaki ang itinaba ni Ben? Tumaba si Ben ng bahagya. Gaano siya katagal nakulong? Nakulong siya ng 1 taon. Okay, gaano kalayo ang nilakad niya? Naglakad siya ng 1 kilometro. So, wasong gamit naman ng nang na maiksi kapag sinasagot ang tanong na ano? Ano ang kinain ni Ben? Kumain si Ben ng pansit na malamig. So, nang na maiksi. Kapag pagmamayari or possession, that's why you have the clue of, right? Mahilig siyang kumain ng talbos ng kamote. Nakakabingi ang tahol ng aso ng kapitbahay. So, nang. Kabarkada ko ang apo ng lolo ng tita ng kaklasiko. So, all nang na maiksi. So, gamitin lagi ang mga batas ng wika ng tama. Okay? How about your examples in the chat? May I see? Nang na mahaba, nang na maiksi. Only for these items because in the next slide we have other Example, how about kapag sinasagot ang tanong na paano? O kaya umuulit ang kilos o gaano? Subukan natin sa chat. Mahabang ng. Okay, that is for the what? O for nang na maiksi, minom ka ng gamot. Correct. Umuulan ng malakas. Correct. Tawa ng tawa si Nicholas kaya nahuli siya ng kanyang guro. Guro is common. Okay, so lowercase. Iyak ng iyak ang bata. Okay, uppercase for that. That's complete sentence. Iyak ng iyak. Correct. Gumising ka ng maaga. Okay. Correct. Later, you'll realize, you'll know that nang na maiksi can be for time. But this one, it's right, the manner. Okay. Kain ng kain si Isobel kapag walang ginagawa. Okay. What else? Yeah, I think you're a gustatory learner. Kamot ng kamot ang aso, baka may kato. Lakad ng lakad ang matanda. Okay, baka ayaw na niya sa bahay. Tumalon si Erica ng mataas. Correct. Okay? Okay, next. So, more examples. So, pag gagamitin ang na mahaba, maaaring gamitin ito, ibang salita sa noong or when. At nang isilang ka sa mundong ito, laking tuwa ng magulang mo. Wala na raw pagkain nang dumating ako sa handaan. Okay, so you may change it to noong. So, at least you know it's nang na mahaba. Other examples for nang na mahaba, ibang salita. Sa para at upang. So again, for paano is the same. Maligo kang maigi nang bumango-bango ka naman. Halina't tumaya sa loto nang yumaman tayo. O this one, dinadaldal ni Jasmine si Dominic. Okay. Okay, that's correct. Another use for nang na, okay, na mahaba. So, para masarap bigkasin ang na. Sometimes it's awkward. So, instead of saying, pwede na pumasok, you may say, pwede nang pumasok. Kasi, malinis na ang silid-aralan. Ang mamatay na dahil sa'yo. So, we say, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo. Masaya si Gerald nang mag-release si Ariana ng album. So, we have, what do you call yourself as Arianator? Is that it? Okay. Nang nawala ako nung isang araw. In that case, that is now correct. You didn't use a period there because that is an incomplete or subordinate clause, right? So you have to follow it up with other statement. So, nang nawala ako nung isang araw, right? Kama or kuwit, right? Nalungkot ang aking magulang. Okay, next. Tumakbo siya ng mabilis. Nang iwan siya ni Adi kaama, right? Nag-iiyak siya gabi-gabi. Okay. Next. Okay, this one, for maaga, ha? That's correct. Earlier, right? You use this. Umuwi ako ng maaga bukas. Uuwi ako ng maaga bukas. Dumating ka ng maaga bukas. Okay, let's go to the other side. Nang na maiksi. Kapag sinasagot ang tanong na kailan. So, this one, specific. A specific time. Not when you say maaga, that's different. So, kapag sinasagot ang tanong na kailan umuwi si Ben? Umuwi ng umaga. So, it's the time of the day ng umaga. Umuwi ng tanghali si Ben. Okay? You may type your examples for nang na maiksi regarding kailan. Oras at petsa, gumigising ako tuwing ikapito ng umaga. Sa ikalima ng Disyembre ang kaarawan ko. Darating ako bukas ng umaga. Alas 4 ng umaga. Right? Nang gumising, so that's one, mahabang nang. Okay, alas 4 ng umaga, nang gumising si Nene. Okay? O kaya kapag ubod ng puno ng saksakan ng, okay, itsura. So, ubod ng ganda ang bulaklak na ito. So, you use nang na maiksi. Puno ng kasamaan si Salina. So, look at the example here. Saksakan ng gwapo si Coco. Kaya nasaktan ang kanyang puso. Okay. Your example for nang na maiksi. About for this, ubod ng. Saksakan ng tamad ang bunso. Puno ng regalo ang kahon. Right. Kumain ng, okay, marami. I think that's for another nang. Saksakan ng ganda Si Nicholas, saksakan ako ng ganda. Okay. Yeah, nang yan. Okay, that's correct. Nang. Kumain ng marami. Okay, next. Their examples. Oops. Okay. Nagbabago kasi ang kahulugan, di ba? Ng pangusap, depende sa nang na maiksi o nang na mahaba, lalo na kung nakasulat. So, o kahit lalo pag sinasabi lamang. Okay, so, manghuli ka ng nakahubad. Right? So, Ben, manghuli ka ng nakahubad. Pag nang na maiksi, alam mo na ang tinutukoy ay, ang uhulihin niya ay nakahubad na tao. Pero pag sinabi mong, Ben, manghuli ka ng nakahubad, nang na mahaba, ibig sabihin, manghuhuli siya habang siya ay nakahubad. Can you give other examples that might change the meaning because of this? Thank you for the haha, Ma'am Eliza. Okay, ubod ng pangit ng pag-uugali. Ubod ng pangit. Maybe it can be ang ubod ng pangit ang pag-uugali ni Martha. In this case, ubod ng pangit ng pag-uugali si Martha. Please double check, right, our determiners. Okay. About your example, di ba? Ang tanong dito magkaiba, di ba? Pag nanghuli ka ng nakahubad at manghuli ka ng nakahubad. About your example for these commonly misuse, right, of nang na maiksi at nang na mahaba. You may type in the chat. Alright, so I hope, right, after this session, you will be cautious, right, when you use nang na maiksi at nang na mahaba. Kumain, again, yung earlier, right, nang marami yan. That's right. Minamahal ako ng lubusan. Wow. Nang lubusan is to what extent, right? So, nang lubusan ni Dominic, nang hindi ko nalalaman. So, both nang na mahaba. Minamahal ako ng lubusan. So, to what extent, right? Nang na mahaba po. Okay? What else? Okay. So, maybe that's your example, right? For commonly misused term. Yeah. Okay, nang hindi ko nalalaman. Both nang na mahaba, ha? Okay? Other examples? No more? Okay. So, next, we have, okay, kung nagtatapos sa rareriroru at rauray, sorry, I have wrote a problem, ang naunang salita, di ang gagamitin imbis na R. Okay, so, it's not, maybe growing up, we know it's just simply vowel, right? Vowel sound or consonant sound, but no, we have a rule here. If it's rareriroru at rauray, ang gagamitin ay din, para madulas din, right? Sa dila, masarap bigkasin. So, pwede naman may pari rin sa may sementeryo. Pero mas bongga ang may pari dito sa, may pari din sa may sementeryo. So, pwede naman na malengke si Marie roon, but as you can notice, if you have wrote a problem like I do have, right, it's hard, it's not so fluid, okay? Mas bongga ang namalengke si Marie doon. Ilang araw raw na malungkot si Ben. Pwede naman, pero mas bongga ang ilang araw daw na malungkot si Ben. Right? It's better. Okay? Dahil mas masarap pa ring bigkasin ang may pari din kaysa may pari rin. Okay, about your example for this? Words that end with ra, re, re, o gusto niya rin. Okay, in this case, because it's literally vowel, right? Vowel sound. Gusto niya rin kumain ng donut. Okay. Rin, correct. What else? What else? Okay. Para daw sa kanya ang regalo. Mas masarap pa rin. What is that? You have to complete it. Okay. Mas masarap pa rin ang tofu sisig kaysa sa, because you are comparing, right? So if you use mas, okay, you have to use another food there. So you may say mas masarap pa rin ang tofu sisig kaysa sa saan? Buffalo wings. Kaysa sa dinuguan. Okay? You miss P.P. Lagoon so much. Okay? I miss tofu sisig too. Like 25 pesos, you have your lunch. Okay? Okay, also buy there. Okay, what else? Ganyan din. Okay. Ang akin. Okay, yeah, correct. Okay. So, another. Okay, how about this one? Ang paggamit ng gitling. Right? Of course, I think growing up also, if you know it's both consonant, right? You may combine them, right? But of course, you don't use space, right? If you have prefix here and then root word. So, isa ka ba sa mga gumagawa nito? Mahirap magmahal nang hindi ka naman mahal? That you don't use, can you use haha? If you're the one who separates this. I think earlier in one example, right? I noticed that. Okay, yeah. So, you combine it, it's just one word. So, hirap magmahal nang hindi ka naman mahal. Sinong, right, naghahanap ng trabaho dyan? Okay. What else? Nakakainis talaga yung nag-iwan ng basura dito. Okay. So, ito, may mali at may tama. So, kadalasan pagkakamali, lalo na sa Facebook at Twitter. Right? So, instead of separating the two, the prefix to the root word, you may join, right? Isang salita lang. Magmahal, magutos, maglakad. But again, if it's vowel letter, you use gitling, but still one word. Naglakad, nag-isip, pagmamahal, pag-ibig, manghuli, mangagaw, ng gamit, ng iwan. Ang sakit naman nito. Panggupit, pang-anim, right? Parang puro hugot mga salitang ito. Okay, tama. Ikalima, hindi ika, tapos okay, space 5. Ikalima, nakasapatos, makatao, taga-bundok. Okay. And na-receive rather than na-receive. Ayan. Correct. Because if it's received, that's already the application of na, right? The past tense. Yeah, correct. What else? Nagpanggap. Correct. Nagpanggap siya nang sinabi niyang gusto ka niya. What else? Mag-isip. Nang mabuti. This is a manner. Ha? Nang mabuti. Mag-isip ng mabuti. Okay. That's manner ha. Paano. So, mahabang nang. Madalas siyang mang-iwan. Ang sakit naman. Okay. Naka-quarantine. Yeah. That's still consonant. Yeah. Because we combine, right, this prefix to an English word. Yeah, we use it. Normally, if it's English, we use gitling. Okay? So, look at this example. Isang salita lang ang pagmamahal at pag-ibig. Dahil sa salitang pagmamahal, walang pantig na naghihiwalay. Kahit sa katagang pag-ibig, may gitling na nagsisilbing tulay. Okay, sino kaya ang tulay na ito? Pagmamahal, pag-ibig. Your examples? Because it's, especially if it will be read easily, right? Because usually the English word has the consonant letter at the beginning. So, mababasa mo pa rin siyang naka-quarantine. Okay? Naka-tuxedo. Naka-jacket. Yeah. Normally, I mean, for morphologists, even in English, you know what, there's no, according to morphologists, okay, there's no written rule about the use of hyphen. Okay, that's according to the book on linguistics for dummies. There is no. Morphologists just use that to really separate bound morpheme to the root word and free morpheme to the root word. They just do that. But there is no actual. But in this case, yeah, just combine them. Because these are for Filipino words. But if that's English, right, as long as that can be, yeah, nag-uugnay, correct. As long as that can be read, right, on the right manner, that we can still separate the English word, right, that's possible. Whether you use gitling. Because if you use it, right, with a word that starts with a vowel letter, that might change the meaning. So, you use gitling. Okay, na-sent, na-sent. Okay, this one, na-sent. Yeah, because you use English. Again, this is, okay, I don't think there's a, what do you call this, policy for this, since we are fond of using English words and combining it to Tagalog, right, affixes. Usually you say, na-send na. Right? Na-send ko na. Right? Just like earlier, the na-receive. Yeah, na-receive. So you use the base form. But again, it's just us who use this. Right? Because in written form, I mean formal, right? Written materials, you don't really use this. Na-send ko na sa'yo. Kasi pwede mo nang alisin ang na pag sinabi mong sent. Sent na sa email mo. You don't need to say na sent. Okay? O na-send ko na. Right? Other examples there in the chat? What is that? Nag? What's that nag? More examples? Okay. So, also we have morphophoneme. So, the combination of morphology and phoneme or phonology. Ang morphophonema ay ang likas na pagbabago ng tunog ng mga salita. Yan ha, likas na. So, it means it's natural way of changing it because it's awkward, right? If you stick to the spelling and you don't change it. So, makikita sa ibaba na nadadamay ang salitang ugat sa pagbabago ng tunog. For example, your root word is tanghalian. You don't say mangtanghalian na or mantanghalian. You say mananghalian ka na. Right? Or, for example, you have takot, panakot, not pangtakot or pantakot. Right? Meron ka bang panakot dyan? Again, this may mean differently. I think I mentioned that before, right? Panakot in Bisaya is, in one part of Bisaya region is panakot means ingredient. In Manila, it's, the fake cockroaches or insects. Yan, na-send lang po. Yeah. Okay. Okay, next, sumpa. Right? You don't say pangsusumpa o pansusumpa. You say panunumpa. Tinda, paninda. Siko, naniko. Pasko, namamasko. Bahala. Okay? Pamahalaan. Hindi pambahalaan, of course. Okay, sampalataya, manampalataya, nanampalataya. Tira, naninirahan. Sigurado, manigurado. Pasahe, pamasahe. Not pampasahe. Okay, bundok na mundok. How about your example? Yeah, mangahoy. Correct. Very good. Instead of magkahoy, mangahoy. Yeah, namalo. Yeah. Palo. Well, it depends on how you're going to use that. In your case, namalo as the verb, right? You may also say, you may use it as a noun, pamalo, right? Instead of saying pampalo or pangpalo, you say pamalo. Okay, namalo. Suntok, nanuntok. Yeah, correct. Hindi nansuntok or nangsuntok. Nanuntok, correct. Or manununtok. Okay? You know it's from suntok. You don't need to say mansusuntok. Great examples. Other examples there? Mag-isda. Okay, mangisda. Correct, mangisda. Nangingisda. Or mangingisda if you're referring to a person. Okay? Yeah, kumain, nakain niya. Okay? Sipa, nanipa. Yeah, hindi nansipa. O nangsipa. Nanipa siya. Yeah, correct examples. No more? Okay, let's proceed to basic sentence. Nangkurot. Yeah, nangurot, not nangkurot. Okay. Basic sentence structure. So, grammatical structure of certain basic sentence types in Tagalog. Right? The sentence types whose structure is outlined are considered basic for two reasons. These are the reasons. First, the shortest and simplest types of complete sentences that occur in the language, especially for the basic Tagalog structure. The structure of other more complex types of sentences may be described as resulting from particular elaborations or combinations of elements from the basic sentence types. For example, in English, they have subject, verb, object. John ate the apple. Mary ate the pear. The apple was, or for passive voice, the apple was eaten by John. The pear was eaten by Mary. So these sentences may be considered representative of a certain basic type of English sentence. Right? So once the grammatical structure of this sentence type has been adequately described, The structure of the sentences may be quite simply accounted for as particular rearrangement of the elements of the first set of sentences. So for Tagalog sentence structure, we have object first, right? Because for the English, they have subject, verb, object. They are tall. I am tired. But we don't normally say sila ay matangkad. We say matangkad sila, di ba? Or what else? Ako ay pagod. You say pagod ako. Right? So, while in writing, it depends if you like to use, karaniwan. Right? Di karaniwan rather, instead of karaniwan. Okay, next. Yeah, we say matangkad sila, pagod ako. Would you like to give me example for this? Predicate first before subject. Object first before subject. Yeah, panalo kami. Correct. Instead of saying, kami ay nanalo. Right? So you say, nanalo kami. Maliit siya. Gutom ako. Gutom na tayo lahat. 12:47 na. Okay, gutom ako. What else do you have there? Masakit ang ulo ko. That's one. Takot sila. Maganda kayo. Sumali kami. Okay, kain tayo. Correct. Wow, thank you if you're eating right now. Pakikain mo na lang kami. Okay? Or ikain mo na lang kami. Okay? So, let's proceed to a more, before I introduce you to functions of Tagalog sentence. Or maybe let's go to this. Okay, so, doer of the action. Yeah, sumulat sa teacher ang babae. So, sino ang sumulat? Ang babae. Okay? So, the woman wrote to the teacher. Okay, your example for the doer of the action. And you can see it's on. Right? Mm-hmm. Your examples for this. Mm-hmm. One. Okay, next function is object. Kumain sa karinderya ang babae. Okay. Kumain ng gulay ang teacher. Okay. Period, ha? Okay. Next, object of the sentence. Isinulat ng babae ang address. The woman wrote down the address. Or wrote the address. Or for passive voice, the address was written by the woman. How about your example? For object, function in the sentence. Okay. Kinuha ng bata ang bola. Correct. So, the object is now there. The object, ang bola. What's that? Ipinan. Please continue your sentence. Kumuha ng... Again. What's that? Hey, Ma'am Ed, please double check your sentence. He said, kumuha ng bata ang baso. Maybe it's kumuha ng baso ang bata. Okay? Ma'am? Okay? Maaari ikaw ay gutom na. Okay? Kinain ng bata ang pagkain. Kinulayan ng bata ang larawan. Correct. Isinulat ni mama ang numero. Okay? Naglaban ng damit ang nanay. Pinakilala ng babae ang kasintahan. Nice. And you will say, sana all. Okay. Kinain ng pusa ang ulam. Yeah, kumuha ng baso ang bata. Okay. Next, direction. You have one more there. Isiniwalat nila ang totoo. Okay. In that case, nila is correct use. But if you'd like to add proper nouns there, that will become nina. Okay. How about for direction? Sinulatan ng babae ang teacher. I think you have that earlier. Ano? Okay. So, sino ang sinulatan? Right? Ang teacher. Okay. Inihain ng nanay ang pagkain. How about this for direction? That's for object. Nagbigay ng halimbawa ang girl for object. Pinuntahan ng teacher ang bata. Okay, correct. Sino ang pinuntahan? Ang bata. Sino ang pumunta? Teacher. Okay, great. Next, location. Pinagsulatan ng babae ang mesa. So, location. That one is different. I think that's magsasaka. Right? Magsasakay. Okay. How about for location? Pinagsulatan ng babae ang mesa. So, saan nagsulat? Ang babae sa mesa. Kinulayan ng bata ang pader. Correct. Yeah, that's correct. You may also utilize washable crayons, right? Maybe if you've watched the vlog of Andy Eigenman, she allowed her children to use the washable, it's like chalk, right? So they can write on the walls, but you may erase them later. Especially your future pupils are very young, right? And they like to write anywhere. Inakyat niya ang bundok. Okay. Saan umakyat? Okay, sa bundok. Correct. Pinagsampayan ng damit ang bakod. Okay, correct. Saan nagsampay ng damit? Sa bakod. Okay, how about this? Beneficiary. Okay, ipinagsulat ng babae ang bata. So, who benefits? Ang bata. Sino ang nagsulat? Babae. Okay, again, beneficiary. So, someone receives something or benefits from something. Binasahan ng nanay ang anak. Correct? Ipinaglaban ng nanay ang amo. Pinagbuhat ko ng bag si Nena. Okay, right. Very sacrificial on your part, huh? What else? Ipinagluto ng nanay ang anak. How sweet. Okay. Pinagbuhat ko ng bag si Nena. Okay. How about for instrument? Ipinangsulat ng babae ang ballpen. Okay, ano ang pinansulat? Ballpen o pluma. What else do you have there? Instrument. Instrument, okay, is the POD. We can use ipinamalo, right? Ipinangpalo. Okay. That's still natural. Okay. Ipinangpalo ng lalaki ang silya. Pinampalo. Right? I think we normally say that. Pinampalo ng lalaki ang silya. Ipinangligo. Ipinaligo. Right? We may say, ipinaligo ng babae ang mineral. Wow, social. Okay. Ipinanghataw ng babae ang patpat, ang sakit. Ipinangkulay ng bata ang Crayola. Ipinangsipilyo ng bata ang toothbrush. Okay. Ipinambato ng bata ang tsinelas sa kalaron. Ang sakit naman yan. Okay, but that's possible, ha? That happens in the classroom. Ipinasok ng bata ng aso. Okay. Maybe you may refer to that as what? Object. Ipinangkain niya ang kutsara at tinidor. Correct. Instrument. We're talking about instrument here, Ma'am Shane. What else do you have there? For instrument. Okay, next. How about for cause? Ikinagalit ng babae ang sitwasyon. Okay, for instrument, sinaksak ng lapis ang kaklase. Aray ko po. Okay, so you have to be careful, teachers. It's advisable that when you're writing on the board, you don't turn your back, right, to your kids because they might, just like this, magsaksakan ng lapis. Okay, how about for cause? Kinagalit ng babae ang sitwasyon. So there's something that caused the grudge, right? Kinagalak niya ang pagkapanalo ng anak. Okay. I think, maybe you've seen the meme about the list of honor students, but have you seen that? Can you give me haha if you've seen the post about top 10 and then mama ni, Junjun, ate ni, Nena, right? So, I hope, right, they will realize that it's about learning of the kid, not about getting honors without allowing the kid to do it by himself. Okay. Your examples. Ikinahagulgol ni Adi ang internet connection. Okay, again, I told you, don't feel sorry if your internet connection is not, what, is not reliable or stable. Kinasama ng aking loob ang kanyang sinabi. Okay. I think, yeah. Again, just like what I'm doing, I integrate values or learn to forgive, right? Give yourself a moment to release all the grudge, and then you may let yourself breathe and relax. Nalaman ng bata ang iba't ibang klase ng gulay. Okay, so nalaman, that's the effect. So cause, what's the cause? Okay, ikinadalumhati niya ang nangyari. Okay, kinatuwa ng puso ko ang pagtawag niya, kilig. Kilig is part of the OED now. Okay. Kinalugmok ni Sab ang pagkamatay ng kanyang aso. Yeah, that's so heartbreaking if you have a pet, right? Okay, how about reference? Pinag-usapan nila ang sitwasyon. So you are referring, right, to people, for instance, they talked about the situation. So there's a point of reference. The situation was talked about by them. Anyone for reference? No more for reference. So ano ang pinag-usapan nila? Ang sitwasyon. Pinagtalunan nila ang hatian ng lupa. Yeah. And that's happening. Okay, correct. Pinagtalunan nila. Okay. Pinagtawanan nila ang comics, period. Okay, pinagtawanan. Pinag-usapan ng mga chismosa. I think chismosa will be typed in Filipino, right? TSI. So, chismosa ang bagong kasintahan ni Nena. Halatang chismosa, right? Pinag-usapan nila ang baliw sa kanto. Pinagsigawan nila ang kanilang opinion. Pinagtawanan nila ang problema. Cool. Pinag-usapan nila ang yeah, you may omit the gitling if it's consonant letters. Tinupad nila ang pangako. Okay. Pinagdiskusyonan nila ang paghahati ng mga gawain. Maybe it's group activity. Pinag-awayan nila ang ulam. Baka iisa na lang ang hotdog. Okay. So, thank you. By the way, for the previous, maybe you're hungry. So, I will not anymore eat your time. But the files that will be uploaded include also another file, that we will not discuss today. But you may go over those. Those are noun, gender, plurals, even the affixes, the prefix, that it's not enough that you use an for one cause, because there can be many uses of an as suffix, right? Or ka as prefix, and so on. You may go over those materials after this. Okay, so I would like you to go to FIRE. You may scan the QR code. FIRE stands for your feelings, insights, reflection, and experience. So what can you say about today's discussion? Right? Nakakagutom ba ang diskusyon? Right? Sa tofu sisig, fewa. Right? So you may scan the QR code. Okay. Let me check if you're already there. Or type the link. Let me type the link in the chat as well, so it's easy. Just one click. Okay, wow. Thank you, Ma'am Erica. That's fast. Okay. Ma'am Erica already did it. So you may click now the link in the chat. Thank you, Ma'am Erica. So what did you feel today? I mean, what's your insight about the discussion? Right? So I assume, right, it's new to you. Right? The way we understand Tagalog sentence structure, it's not the usual, right? Panag-uri at simuno, it's not the usual that. Okay, someone, okay. Dayon is already there. Who else? Rapisura, yeah, thank you. You have to include your names and your program you're in section. Please use the acronym FIRE, right, as you divide your thoughts there. In self-assessment, Ed Shrine is there, Hannah is there, Princess is there, Kiana also, Gerald as well. Especially the clarification on how to use nang na maiksi, nang na mahaba. Maybe next time I can give you a quiz about who versus whom. It's also a common mistake, especially in social media, right? Or even in Netflix when you watch, you thought it's the right term to use. Who is for the subject and whom is for the object. So whom shall I call? Whom shall I fear? Right? Whom shall I marry? Right? To whom you'll send a letter. Okay, it's very informative and I've learned so much. Please use the fire again. Your feelings, insights, reflection, and experience. So we can identify which part. Okay, please use FIRE. Yeah, thank you, Sir Gerald. Yeah, you're following. So first your feeling. What's your I feel happy from Shane. Oh, Ma'am Hannah, I feel anxious and worried about the tons of assessment in different subjects, but it's my duty to do that. Yeah. I understand that. By the way, yeah, you will have your assessment up there after the class. If you need what ma'am, we need 2 week prep for this. You may ask me, okay? So I will change the due date. Okay? If it's not feasible. My feelings today were neutral. I went in class like any other class that I attended, but once the lessons and the examples were given, I felt a little giddy because they were stimulating us to think and learn. Yeah, thank you for participating, for your examples in the chat, right? It asks you to think, okay? Insights. Today, a lot of insights could be applied in real life. I will make sure to review how I use nang. Oops, that should be short nang. Huh? Short nang and long nang. Doon, roon, daw, raw, and among others. Yeah. Because again, you are sorry to put the pressure on you, but yes, you are the foundation, right, of these young learners. So we have to use the right words, right term, right structure. I'm always having a hard time to know what is the right word to use, whether nang or nang. Okay. So you may review them from time to time if you're confused. I I am mesmerized on how complex our language is. Oftentimes Tagalog is deemed easy. But no, yeah. But it's our national because it's our national language. But in reality, there are numerous grammatical mistakes we commit every day. I agree, Ma'am Camille. Yeah, that's so true. Yeah, today a lot of insights could be applied in real life. Yeah, to study more and be more aware of grammar and the difference between the nang and nang. The lesson for today serves as an eye opener and correction in using the nang and nang in sentences. I realized that I commit so many mistakes in doing my essays and assignment. Yeah. Even I sometimes also. That's why when I study this, even before, right, I became so cautious that it's hard for me to tweet. I think there's one time I tweeted and then I reviewed it, but then I realized I need to change the nang, okay, from time to time. Even though it's Twitter, I mean Twitter and Facebook, right, accept these fragments or even right incorrect ones, but we are teachers, so we need to be cautious about what we post. I realized that I commit so many mistakes in doing my essays, assignments, chats. Even until now, I'm having a hard time tweeting, posting my feelings because I'm still in the process of adjusting in the new normal mode of education, but I'm coping. I feel happy and interested because the discussion is engaging, because each is giving a chance to contribute some examples on how to use the markers, the proper way of using the common markers. Yeah, especially that's common na the sina, right? If you're going to use proper nouns, sina. But if there's no proper nouns, you use sila. I realize that I'm using nang na mahaba and nang na maiksi in incorrect way. I feel overwhelmed about the new information about the Filipino grammar that I never knew about. Today's insight is an eye opener for me to be cautious. Correct. about my grammar, and I will surely use and review this new knowledge every now and then for retention. Thank you, Ma'am Gia. Yeah, that's a good news. The discussion today is very insightful, especially on the part, of the use of nang and nang. You might be even surprised if we'll have today the who versus whom. Right? Okay. Maybe next time. It is my first time to know that mga is used, okay, to be mga. So I'm kind of surprised to hear it. Mhm. It's very informative and I've learned so much. Ma'am Daniela, you may add there your IRE. Mhm. Oh, it's okay, Ma'am Adriana. You feel anxious because you can participate well during the discussion. Maybe it's your connection. Don't worry, you have activities there to answer. You also have additional nang versus nang na mahaba at maiksi. Okay? Okay, try your best to answer it as much as possible. Just go to the lesson proper and not go to other websites. Just focus on answering it. So you can also test your knowledge if you really understood it. I realized that I used some words incorrectly. Now I am more conscious. But the others, you are 27. The link is in the chat. Okay. When I'm listening to Mom earlier, it feels like I'm still in junior high school. Thank you. I don't know what that means. Maybe you mean because of the topic, but it's complicated than that. Is that it? I don't know. Right? Even we already have komunikasyon sa wikang Filipino. Right? Sa pananaliksik. Still, there's so much to learn. I feel happy and interested because the discussion is engaging and everyone, is answering the proper way of using the common markers. Correct. We should be aware of the words we use. Correct. Okay. I realize that I commit so many mistakes in doing my essays, assignments. I experience some technical problems like in my internet, the gadget that I use every day, the noisy neighbors, and many more. I just want to go back to school. Yeah, we too. Today has been a good day in class for everyone. It has been very refreshing and fun to give our examples in the chat box. Thank you. Yeah, that you appreciate that. At least I'm not like Dora here, right? Have you seen that meme? It's like teachers nowadays are like Dora. When we ask questions and there's no feedback, we're the only ones who answer it. But not today. Right? I acknowledge your response, and they're really responses. I will continue to study the language systems and characteristics so that I won't I won't confuse the people. Whom? Okay, this one, huh? It's an example. Let me check this. So that I won't confuse the people whom I'm talking with. So that's whom, not who. Okay, especially my voice is deep. Oh, we have the same. And my tone is so serious. I think okay, I am like that too. Sometimes they think that I'm angry, so I will improve the speaking skills so they they will not misinterpret me again. Hey. Okay. Yeah. Even I think I have that serious tone. That's why even if I'm cracking a joke, especially if it's English, and my students don't laugh. They tell me, Ma'am, you need to warn us or give us heads up. Okay? Ed Murray says, I enjoyed the game we had. Yeah, of course, sure. Maybe next meeting as well, we'll have group activities. That's possible here, even if we are in the virtual world. However, yeah, the only setback is our connection. This week has been rough. There are a lot of assessments to do, but here I'm still going. Yeah, you have to realize as well, teachers, that you have to look at the brighter side of these activities from all your courses, right? You might not realize the importance of them now, but soon you will be thankful. Okay, just to share with you, just to lift you up, right? My math major student told me, he testified. He's now a licensed teacher. He testified and he thanked me, Ma'am, thank you because you gave us a lot of requirements and activities. And then I asked why, and then they said, Ma'am, because our other teachers, it's like they're comforted with very minimal activities, and the reason he's thanking me is right because in the real world, if you'll go to the teaching field, right, you will be bombarded more than the activities you have now, and you will thank your experiences, right? I mean, now that you are in college, you are still in college, you will thank the experiences that ay konti na lang to, right? Because for example, in the real world, you say that right, kayang-kaya na to because right? You were trained for it. Here's one. Now that the class is over, I feel recharged of the new things I learned. Thank you. Today's class is awesome. I'm happy because the internet connection and the electricity did not interrupt our class today. Congrats! And a little bit scared because of the typhoon coming here. Okay, where are you located? It's almost my birthday. Happy birthday, Shane! But I'm not excited because my father and brothers are not here. Yeah, we just, of course, safety is important, right? Maybe you can just do video call when you celebrate. Our lesson will help me in real life so I can use them in the correct way. I still get new information even though I've already known some of them. We should be aware of the words we are using and how we will say it to others because it may sound, yeah, they may sound different to what we're trying to say, right? Just like earlier, we said that meanings are in people, not in words. Okay? So maybe, yeah, you may keep them coming. I will also post this link, right, to our stream in the Google Classroom. I would like you to eat now, so let's turn on our videos and let's take our post, yeah, class picture or screenshot. Thank you for your feedback. I need them. But the others, please turn on your videos. Sir John, who else? Ma'am Erica, Andrea. Okay, ready? I have two slides, I think two panels. 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, next slide. Keep on smiling. 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, that will be all. God bless you. And see you again next week is a synchronous class. Okay, focus on the activities. If you need extension, just tell me. Okay, I'll change them. Okay, God bless you all. See you. Take care. Bye,
Thank you,
teacher.
ma'am.
Thank
Thank you,
you po,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Thank you po,
Thank you
ma'am.
po.
Thank you po, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you. God bless you all.